This game actually goes full screen. This is another game called Egg. This game has been getting a lot of updates, and I don't know why. There's been a Valentine's Day event, as well as a New Year's event, and the status updates for this game read like somebody's fan fiction almost. For instance, the sex update and Valentine event has ended February 15th. I don't know what this means, okay? If anything, if I'm ever considered to be an influencer, let me influence you on one of two things, or on only these two things, okay? You should play a game called Egg, and you should also drink a lot of water and take care of your body. Oh my god, it's an idle game. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, so what's the event in this game? What? What's the point of this game? Why was there like a Valentine's event in this game? I can't imagine why there's a Valentine's event in this game. What is this game? What? Is that actually all there is to this game? I thought it was like weird. Okay. Golden Egg Hunt Event. I'm going to read this event for you. Today, the event has ended. We still have some eggs left to give away, but the submissions are now closed, and the event is over. For people who didn't get lucky, I offer normal egg for 25 cents. Sex updates and Valentine event. Be ready, we are going to launch a Valentine's event on February 13th, where we're going to give away Valentine's eggs to everyone until the event end. Along with the event, the sex update will be launched on February 13th. Huh? And also big thanks for buying normal eggs. Thank you for 2,500 reviews. Hope that everyone will have a good day, and that your boss will raise your salary. Also, thank you for making a trailer for this game. I hope everyone got their own egg as we tried to give it away to everyone. What does that mean? How do I get more eggs? The game supports mouse and keyboard. The game supports gamepad. The game uses the best HD. What? Just play more egg games and play a lot of just take care of your body. That's like the only thing that I can influence you on. You can moderate to an extent and ban when it goes too far, but you think that it can work sometimes when it's not full pro. You were more referring to when creators would make it sound so black and white. Yeah, I can see. I see what you mean. Yeah, because it. So again, just like going back to that discussion on moderating chat, it is true. It's like it is gray. I do agree with your assessment. Yeah. So you just learned a new thing called anti-aliasing while looking at your settings while trying to do a digital picture. Ah, yes. You discovered the magic of drawing pixels. It's weird because it's only a concern for computer stuff, and it's only because it's adding quality where there wasn't anything there before. Is this actually just an idle game? Here, have some jazz music. But yeah, it's weird when you get into the history of anti-aliasing. Realistically, we probably don't need it in a few years when like the quality gets crazy high. And it feels like the quality is almost there. Like a lot of the games nowadays look very hyper realistic, to the point where it looks almost way too real. It's gone beyond Uncanny Valley into I can't tell the difference between this and that. So we'll see how long those settings need to be there. I was also thinking while I was in the washroom too. While it's not so black and white in terms of like the creator is like responsible for their chat because their chat is representative. I do think in some way there is some influence in terms of like who the creator is and what kind of influence and what kind of chat that they do get. So I do disagree that it is like completely always gray and not always clear. I do think some people do lead to certain aspects of like they attract a certain type of person, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think it's like some people have like a preference for certain things, right? Like it's some people might like watching me over, say, I don't know who else is famous, over Asmongold or Iron Mouse, right? And you may have certain, like hangups about either of those creators, right? You may hate Iron Mouse's, like voice, right? Like again, this is not my personal opinion, but being friends with many people who are very petite and have very petite sounding voices, actually pretty much every single one of my friends sounds like it sounds like what people meme about with the fake voice thing. And it's why it's like anytime somebody says, "Oh, that has to be a fake voice," I'm always like, no, people just sound like that. But anyways, I digress. I think being a certain person does attract a certain type of person, but I do agree in that it's too complex to even boil it down to like that and say like that is guaranteed, like you're going to get like a bad audience, and so it's like it's your fault and your responsibility. Like it's not. It really isn't. It's impossible to, because there's so much that you need to like think about in terms of like the complexity of like how people are, right? Like just people have so many different influences on their life that you can't really control them the way that you think you can control them. Although, again, I've been reading a webtoon called Suhi Zero, and that one did make me think a lot about how much influence you can have over someone's life, almost unwittingly, right? So when you come here and you enjoy these conversations, right? No matter who you are inside chat, right? Whether you like to listen or whether you like to talk. And again, I want all of you to feel comfortable talking. I want all of you to feel comfortable jumping in till I talk at any moment. I want everybody here to feel comfortable with each other. It's why I moderate so heavily with such a heavy hand, in order to make sure that like people feel like they can interact with each other in like chat as like well. Because if somebody's very standoffish, I don't really want that here, right? Just because it feels bad. But even thinking about like you liking to come here to watch this and talk with me, you know what I mean? Like through this like lossy medium of like text to like speech, basically, right? Feels a bit like I'm already influencing you in some way to make you want to be here, and even that makes me feel kind of like worried in a sense, because it's like I don't really want to foster that, but I don't. It's hard to like divorce the concept of like I want to be here versus I want to watch this like thing, right? Like how do you not just enjoy the content? It's like hard to separate those two things into their own boxes. I'm really trying hard to explain this. It's really hard to explain my like thoughts on it though. Your personality will change who is interested in you, and yeah, each situation has to be thought of with the context around it. Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to get at. Yeah, I appreciate chat, all of you, for being much more concise than I am. I use too many words to say certain things. I read like certain things and people are so succinct. Is this the entire game? Like I read so many different things where people are very succinct about what they say in the way that they say things, and I'm like, wow, I would really love to be that concise and that like good at like saying something. Like the whole shit stick thing here, the shit stick. I'm gonna find it. Here we go. Shit stick. There's a Wikipedia page for shit stick. Okay, wikipedia.org/shit_stick. Okay. Shit stick means a thin stick or stick used instead of toilet paper for anal hygiene, and was a historical item of material culture introduced through Chinese Buddhism and Japanese Buddhism. A well-known example is, I can't even begin to pronounce that, but the translation is literally dry shit stick Watto from the Chan/Zen master, I'm assuming, a koan from the Chan/Zen koan, which a monk asked, "What is Buddha?" And Master Yunmin or Unman answered, "A dry shit stick." I want to get to that level of brevity, right? What is I need a different text thing. Wait, sorry. Main shit stick text. What is Buddha? A dry shit stick. I want to be able to say this and like get to that level of like brevity and yet gravity as well behind what I say. Because when you dissect that statement, it's like, damn, like you actually feel that in your bones, right? Like it's like, oh wow, like, because it's, the meaning is so layered, right? Because you are so relieved, you are so happy to know that this shit stick is dry and it hasn't been used and it's clean, and so you can wipe your ass with it too. I guess a modern day example would be, what is Buddha? Fuck. A stall that just opened. A toilet stall that just like, I can't do that. Like, I can't get to that level of brevity. It's so hard. A dry shit stick. Let's try and make our own cone, right? Koan. I forget how to pronounce it. Okay, what is Buddha? Like, what is Buddha? What is the equivalent? A stall that just opened. A washroom stall that just opened. Like, how do you capture that level of relief? You know what I mean? How do you capture... I didn't realize I covered the egg. Wait. That's good. That's really good. This is the level of conciseness that I want to get to, right? What is Buddha? A dry shit stick. What is Buddha? A washroom stall that just opened. Or maybe an unused... fuck. An unused... I don't know. An unused toilet. Right? And then it's like... And then you contemplate it, right? And then it's like... You know, I am... And then it's like, I am enlightened. Right? Like, here. Like... I am enlightened. It's like, I am enlightened, right? Like, I want to get to that point with the ways I say things, and I think it only comes when you're able to like, when you're able to formulate like reasonable sentences without stuttering. But that's impossible because the word for stuttering is the word that you will stutter on. You try to when you're typing, but speaking is where you struggle to get to the point. Yeah, it's because I realized, like, because the reason why I started streaming, right, was the practice. It was really a way for me to practice for, like, interviews and stuff. I suck at interviews at explaining my thought processes to the point where I will ramble on for hours. Or, like, minutes, obviously, because you only get, like, half an hour to like, prove yourself, right? And the interviews for the roles that I do, they require you to speak your mind about your thought processes. The problem is that I'm not good at that. And so, when you lose the plot, and when you're not able to get your point across, they immediately check out and they say, well, this person's lost it, and I have no clue what they're doing, and they would be terrible to work with, therefore we should not work with them, right? What I found doing this for a year is that it doesn't get much easier, because when you speak, you worry about too much, I think. And you don't have enough time to formulate your words without it sounding awkward. Because when you speak, you notice that I stagger a lot of my words. It's because of the way that I speak. You may notice that I speak in bursts, right? It's as far as I can tell, it's a neurological thing. But it's I got that confirmation like years ago when it was like, you know, very early into like the research lifespan of like what makes a person stutter. But basically, you'll notice that I group a whole bunch of sentences together, and then I get them out all at once, and then I think about the next thing that I want to say, and then I talk about it, right? When you listen to other people speak that are very concise in how they speak, it seems like they are able to prepare a lot of what they say beforehand, and speaking to them comes naturally. They don't even have to breathe. For them, breathing is a second nature thing. I need to think about when I breathe. It's a very weird thing to say, but I will pass out at times. You may notice it sometimes when I go in a very long sentence and I start to trail off, like I've gotten like, you know, the like mind fog. It's literally because I run out of oxygen and I'm about to pass out, right? Like it's, and I don't get that problem when I sing. When I sing, it's very different. But it's mainly because, you know, now we know that singing activates like a different part of your brain. But speaking, I found it to never get easier. And that you'll always have trouble trying to get across what you want to say, because there's so many mechanical processes that go into it that if you already struggle on some level with some of it, then it gets in the way of you being able to form an uninterrupted thought. However, I wonder if that would be true if I didn't have the ability to think in my own head, and I'll get into why that statement exists in just a moment. And also whether or not that would have changed if I didn't have such a spitty mouth. So you may hear sometimes I go like this. It's because every time I talk, spit comes out of my mouth at like a very high volume. I imagine other streamers don't have this, because when I watch other streamers, they don't talk as much as I do. I feel like I talk too much to you guys. But at the same time, if I don't say anything, like, you know, just like this. Yeah, this is a great egg game. Oh man, 3,000 eggs. We're almost at 4,000, guys. I feel like you lose a lot of the fun and the thrill of streaming, which is like the communication aspect, which is a weird thing to say. Does this game ever get any better? So, you know, YMMV, it really depends on who you are. But again, what was the thing that I was going what was the thing that I was supposed to explain to you guys? Oh yeah, so some people don't have an internal monologue. So I have an internal dialogue. When I think about things in like any voice that I want. But it's much faster than how I speak. It's much more stable in how it speaks. And when I think about a sentence in my head, it flows much easier and I get the words out immediately. I don't even need to think about the words. They just come out of nowhere. I sound way smarter in my head than I do when I'm expressing myself to all of you through my voice, right? Through my words. It's weird. And I imagine that all of you in chat have this too, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to like type, I don't think. I don't think people who don't have an internal monologue can probably type well. I imagine, at least for them, that they would find it much harder than just talking to someone. And so I imagine, you know, if you feel like talking and like typing online is like easier, maybe it's because you have an internal monologue that is much more capable than what your mouth can like do, right? Like, what does that mouth do? What that mouth do though? And my mouth gets very wet, very slobbery. But my head mouth, my second head mouth. I have a head mouth, but my second head mouth is really, really good at not getting slobbery, at not having to breathe, and being able to just pull words out of nowhere and not getting distracted by how it sounds like. So I wonder how true that is, but I can't find somebody who doesn't have an internal monologue. I was hoping that my wife wouldn't have one, because like she's the only person that I really talk to IRL, but she has one. So yeah, I'm basically one for one that everyone that I really know and talk to has an internal dialogue in their head. If you don't have one, please let me know so I can ask you questions. I will send you a survey by email, and you also get a free email story with it too. The first ever email story that I send first, compared to you getting one in return. I think this is the entire game. Again, I just want to really point out here, okay? This game has events. Multiple events, alright? Ostrich egg update. Ostrich egg update. Golden egg hunt. Something was added. What is this? How do I get a golden egg? How do I find these things? Is there a guide for this game? Maybe it is guides. Guides. How to get the dopamine rush gene with only doing one thing. What? What? Drag the mouse? Wait, what? Butterfly clicking. No, how to cook and eat boiled egg. What is this? No, these are just cooking guides. What is this? You have to get 1 million eggs? Wait. What do you mean? Yes, what are the achievements in this game? Again, I just want to point out that this game has 2,500 reviews. 2,500 reviews. 2,500. For comparison, do you know what game that we played that was really, really good recently? That I thought, you know, should have way more eyes on it? Astra Libra. Guess how many reviews that game has? That game has 20,000. This game is 10% as popular as Astra Libra. Okay? Think about that. 10% as popular in the gamer mindshare as Astra Libra. So much so that I saw this at the top of my list and I was like, why is my Steam recommending me this? Because I again, if you go to the store page for this game, I just really want to point this out. This is what I see. Well, it used to be here, but it used to say like you might like this game because you like Melvor Idol. And I'm like, I feel like Melvor Idol has a lot more mechanics compared to this. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm like missing something. Maybe there's like a UI somewhere that I'm just missing. But the egg just spins, I just click. And there's, you know, we have a cone on the screen, but that's it. Speaking of cones, there's a very weird book that you all should read that I found again recently. I was going through my old library, basically. Not like a library, but like I used to get like a lot of books when I was younger. And my dad gave me some books. It's like his way of trying to take part in my interest, because he has no clue what I do. Like language barrier stuff. But he gave me some pretty interesting books, right? So I was going through my library, and then I realized like, wait, what happened to all of my old books? So I found my old books. One of the old books that I used to read was The Art and Zen, or the Zen and Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which is a very interesting book the way that book is written feels almost like a translated Buddhist scripture on maintaining a motorcycle. It's very odd, but the story that it tells is also very interesting. Like it's really more about like principles than like anything else. So, since we're on the topic of Buddhism, you should read that. It's weird. It's weird and interesting. You don't really get much out of it, but it is at least fascinating to like read. The internal monologue toss has made you start to question if others have to repeat everything someone says for them to take it in, like yourself. So when someone talks, it can be hard for you to type or think of your own thoughts sometimes while taking something someone says in. I don't think that's necessarily a fault of the internal monologue, nor is that a fault of like you. I think that's just a fault of being human. What I found is that like, because I have the exact same issue when you and you notice it when I'm taking in information even from like a game, right? But yeah, it's just hard to think about things. I would argue that's like a very normal thing to like have, because it's unless your brain is working on like overtime, and unless they say the concept in a way that you can easily understand, you almost need to take time to like mull over what they've said, right? Some people can do that to some extent while they're multitasking while saying things, and you can tell when I'm doing that when I use a lot of like nothing burger words, when I say words that are just there to fill up space. But otherwise, yeah, I just think that's like a very normal thing to have, where you need to repeat a couple times to understand what they're saying. I probably don't help that, considering that I do use a lot of words to pad and like buffer my speech to give me time to think about what you just said, chat. All of you, like this, every time someone says something in like chat, I need like a moment to like just think about what you just said, and then it hits me. But I wouldn't necessarily say like it is tied to internal monologue. I don't think. I just think it's like just taking in information is just hard, especially like information that like just comes out of nowhere. Because someone speaking to you is like a very violent act, not in the sense of like it is like a violent act, but in the sense of like when you think about the mechanics of it, it's funny how like abrasive it is, right? Like out of nowhere, somebody opens their like mouth and like a loud noise comes out, and they start saying like patterns of like speech to you that if you don't understand the language, it's like you have to spend time decoding it almost. And it's like if you know the language well, that decoding is like automatic, but you still don't necessarily understand the meaning of it. And so it's like it's out of nowhere. Maybe violent was the wrong word. Maybe like abrasive or like something. But it's not about how you sound. It's just the fact that words and speech exists, and it's like the weirdest thing ever. It's been a learning curve watching me. But I'm glad you're glad that you accept it as a challenge because the conversations are fun. Okay. Listen, I really enjoy who you are, and I really enjoy being here. But wow, is it tough? Like wow, do I really have to do a lot to really understand what's like going on here? I'm curious, actually. What do you find is the learning curve, chat? So for all of you, because all of you have a different learning curve, I think, because all of you come from different places, right? Like one of you is from CIS, like from the CIS region, and so there's like a language barrier. And then some of you aren't from there, but at the same time, some of you are used to different accents, or maybe some of you are just used to different paces of speech, or maybe some of you are used to different like words used even. Like maybe the words that I use are not in your common vernacular, and so it's like, okay, well, what the fuck does vernacular mean? Is it a vein in your arm? So what is the learning curve? I'm so curious. It's not that I'm offended. I'm just curious, right? Because I have thought about that. I have thought about that in the sense of like, the way that I talk is very difficult. My wife has said that, actually. My wife has said, honey, I really enjoy when you talk, but I don't know what the fuck you say half the time. I'm like, oh no. And my wife will, because like very often, right? Like even during our like date, like okay, so during our like date, right, for Valentine's, we got the bill, and she was doing the math to like get the tip, and she was very adamant. She was like, I want to do the math, don't do the math. And I was like, well, 13% of X is like this, and so 13% of X, which is 2 times X, is just 2 times that value that I gave you. And then because it's like a 1 digit over, you just roll it down, you move the digit over, and so it's like 1 point X, right? And then she was like, shut the fuck up. She was like, shut up, let me do it, shut up, you're too smart, shut up. But not even like it's not even like a matter of just being smart. I just find like talking to people is just hard, right? It's just everybody has a different mindset. You spend so much time trying to understand each other. It's why I like text a lot, because especially on like YouTube comments, when we get really deep into YouTube comments, I love learning about how someone thinks, because then it's like, then I understand the context of where they're coming from. Then I can make more sense of what they're saying, and then it's like, okay, I get what you mean now. You're slow to take things in, and it's like a brain trainer. Okay, see, maybe I should slow down. What is Buddha? A dry shit stick. What is Buddha? An unused toilet. I should slow down like that. I should be methodical with my words and go back to a nice, casual pace. The casual pace also helps too, because I don't run out of oxygen. You sometimes hear me breathe, but sometimes I don't breathe, and sometimes I do get a bit lightheaded. I also actually have noticed the way that I speak. My voice goes very heavily into a range that I don't like, because it's a bad habit now, but I project too much from my microphone. I set my mic up so that I can speak at a very comfortable pace. Like if I go for a comfortable talking range, this is my comfortable talking range, right? This is the range where my voice doesn't hurt. But when we go really into it, I go really like this, and I'm like, no. Your partner always asks you to get to the point when you're talking, because while explaining the why a thing has happened, he knows where you're going. That's a very common sentiment. Yeah, that's a very common sentiment. It's funny how that happens, because like sometimes it's not even like a your fault thing, right? It's just like sometimes when you're explaining something, the end is a logical conclusion to your beginning. And so it's like when you say like, honey, the craziest thing happened at like work. Like this person said this, and then in their head they already know. And the manager that you told me about five times now responded the exact same way like this, right? And then you say, and then my manager responded like this, and it's like, honey, just get to the very end. Like you know what I mean? It's not a you thing. It's just some things are like full of patterns. Life is full of patterns, right? Nah, the chaos is fun. I don't know if I should encourage that though. Encourage the kind of like, you know, fast-paced chaos. I don't want to be known as someone that's like always hyped up on like coffee or something. I want to be known as like a very chill person, right? Like I want to foster that like image of like, oh man, I love going to stick things streams, and then you come here and it's like, what is Buddha? A dry shit stick. I'm enlightened. What is Buddha? Not an unused toilet. Not an unused toilet. A dusty toilet bowl. That's my first ever cone. That is my first ever cone. Ever. And a cone is a very interesting concept. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Wait, how do you pronounce cone? But it's like a mini story in like Buddhism, in like Zen Buddhism, I think, specifically. That is, or like a statement or something. It's weird. The way it's phrased, it's like a question, and you're supposed to mull over it to get to some meaning. But like that right there, a dusty toilet bowl. What is Buddha? A dusty toilet bowl. Hasn't been used. It's clean, spotless, right? Just like nice. It's just dusty. It means that no one else has used it. It means that I am the first. I am the first in either a long time or ever. Or maybe... Do toilets come plastic wrapped? No. Do toilets come plastic wrapped? Plastic wrap your toilet. No, I don't... Do toilets come plastic wrapped? What? Okay, when you buy a toilet, what does it come like? I've never actually bought a toilet. Think about this, chat. This is something that's gonna freak you out, okay? Unless you're like extremely rich, in which case, email me. Send me an email. I'll give you more than an email, sorry, if you want. But unless you're extremely rich, you have never bought a toilet in your life. Every place that you've ever gone to just had a toilet. Because everybody takes their furniture, right? People take their sofas, people take their like, you know, fridges. Nobody takes their toilet. We gotta stop talking on this game. This game, I've stopped playing the game entirely because it's nothing to this game. It's just a clicker. I got debated by the 2,500 reviews. We're gonna go to egg flipping. This is all for like egg. I don't know why. What is this game? Why is there events? Why is there a Valentine's Day event? What does it mean to have like a different... People have different eggs. There's like a way to get different eggs, but I can't find it. I don't know. How do people get different eggs? Why are 2,500... Why are there 2,500 reviews for this game? I don't get it.